Welcome to the Racing Nuggets podcast. I'm PJ Noodleman, joined by my co-host from the Midwest Racing Connection, Mr. Dan Plan. Hey, Dan.
Hello, good to see you again.
Good to see you. What a fine sweatshirt you are wearing tonight.
Yeah, I know this guy.
How apropos. It is our guest for the evening. You know him from the number 72 late model and super late model. It's Jacob Goede. Welcome, Jacob.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. That's a nice view there of your shop.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I not quite as fancy as Casey Johnson. We were listening to it, me and my wife, and she's like, yeah, I'm not doing that for you. So anyway, I got relegated to the shop and sit in front of my car. So.
Well, the shop is cool. Now, which car is that behind you? Is that the one that you just have been winning championships with here recently?
Yeah, that's the Dreamsicle. Yeah, that's the one I run primarily, the orange and white one. My limited late or big A car, whichever you want to call it. But yep, that's the one I pretty much race 90% of the time.
Nice.
Is that the same car that you started out with back in the day?
It's not that old.
Okay.
No, it is. Let's see, it's like my third primary car or whatever. I started, my rookie year was 02 in late models, and we actually started with a former Ricky Bilderback car and a perimeter chassis, and then we bought a different one, and then I built this one. So anyway.
Wait a minute, you're saying this is only the third car you've had since 2002?
Yeah, primarily. I've driven other cars and worked on other cars, but as far as like owning, this is only the third one.
That's amazing given what you've done in your career.
Yeah, well, yeah, thank you. Well, it's a 2008, so I guess it is, what is that, 14 years old now.
Vintage? Should we just call it vintage?
Well, I'm almost another 6 years, I guess. By technical terms, it would be vintage once it gets 20 years old, right?
Wow.
You can get collector plates. You can get collector plates in Minnesota.
There we go. That's what it is. Yeah, that's been a good car. For whatever reason, it's been a good car. So I don't know. It got a clip knocked off it last summer and rebuilt it, and it seems like it's the same. So.
Do you do all the rebuild yourself?
No, I brought this one down to left-hander this time. Yeah. So I wish I had a jig here, but I don't quite have room. Well, I maybe could have room, but anyway, I don't have a jig. So.
All right. Well, what are your plans here for the next year, this next season coming up, 2023?
Most likely similar to the past, whatever, 5-6 years. Most likely it'll be Elko again weekly, mixed in with some lacrosse when I can. It's still up in the air a little bit whether we're gonna run lacrosse full time or Elko full time. It'll probably most likely be Elko, but just because it's so close to home, I really love running at lacrosse. Would like to try and win a championship down there before I quit running weekly stuff or whatever. So we'll see. I would really like to try and get a championship besides Elko, to prove that I could or whatever. But most likely it'll just be the limited late and dabble with the super late, maybe a couple times to 5 times, depending on how it goes. We'll start out the year at the Joe Shear Classic for that Stars National Tour and Midwest Tour race. Pretty excited about that. So who knows, if that goes really well, maybe we'll add more super late stuff and tone down the weekly stuff, but most likely it'll be primarily the limited late stuff. So
I like that you're pretty fluid with your plans. You don't seem to get too nutted up about anything, and you're just going to roll with the flow.
Yeah. I mean, kind of take it 1 week at a time, sort of. I always open the year at lacrosse since they start before Elko or whatever with the limited late stuff. And sometimes it's hard to leave when we're running good down there or whatever. But nothing's firm. The kids are getting busy, so that's where the Elko stuff kind of fits in nice, just because it's there. They can come, and then we run on Sundays right at Little Elko too with the girls. So Anyway, the travel stuff gets hard as we get busier, but we'll see. Maybe that's where the super late stuff would actually be kind of nice, because it wouldn't be maybe every week, but we'll see.
Any desire to get to Rockford before it ends its final lap here?
Actually, yeah. I think I'm planning on doing the National Short Track Championship. I think that weekend, for the final race or whatever. I've only ran there one time. Ran really well. Finished second to Steve Carlson. Led over half the race and made one little mistake, and he pounced on it and got by me, and I finished second. But yeah, I would like to get back. Now that it's a limited late deal, I have a couple of those, so bring one down that I maybe wouldn't mind tearing the front end off or something. We'll see. But I would like to try it again. I think we could run decent, and it'd be fun to go there one last time.
I think you'd probably have to drive through the night, because that weekend is championship night at Elko this year.
Oh, geez, it is.
Yes.
There's a reason to run. There's a reason to run lacrosse right there.
I see you have one quarter midget in the background, but I think you're going to have more than one kid racing this year. Is that right?
Yeah, all three this year, this coming season. So last year we had Reese, my oldest, and Audrey, the youngest, and Johanna, our middle one, didn't want to race. She tried practicing a couple times and didn't think it was for her. But by the end of the season, all of a sudden we got home one day after the racing, and she writes a note to her mom, or Erica, and Erica brings it out to me, and she's like, it was Dad, I'm thinking about racing next year. like, okay, you don't have to twist my arm, so anyway, we'll have all three girls racing this year. Reese races 2 classes, so we'll have 4 cars. We'll see. I'm thinking about adding a 5th one too, but I don't
Talk
know.
a little bit about the girls racing. What is that like for you as a dad?
It's tough. I really, I didn't push it at all. Honestly, like, we never went there. Reese could have started when she was 5, and she didn't start till she was almost 8. I think it was. But Leighton, my nephew, started racing first, and the girls wanted to go watch them. I'm like, all right. And then once they watched, then they want to do it. So anyway, the hardest part for me is, you just wish you could just dump your whole brain on them and have them just do it, how you know how to do it, or how you learned how to do it from all the years. And that's the hardest part. You just want them to pick it up so much quicker. But it's really cool when you do see them start figuring things out, and when it starts to click for them, it's amazing how fast it goes. Audrey, she started when she's 6, and at first, it's like, oh my God, what are we getting ourselves into? But by the end of the season, she was, well, not even by the end, by a couple weeks in, it's like, okay, she's understanding what's going on. She can line up. She's understanding that part, and she's making passes, and it's like, okay, well, I guess this won't be so bad. And then, yeah, so it's really fun to see the progression and watch them figure it out. I need to figure out how to calm myself down. That's one thing I struggle with. I want it. I want them to figure it out so bad, and want it so bad for them, I guess, that I get a little wrapped up too much into it sometimes. So
it's kind of wild there at Little Elko too, because all of the parents, many of them anyway, have been hard-nosed racers against each other. And now here you all are with your kids getting along like you're ready to sit down, have picnic lunch. It's like when you got the kids involved, everybody, it's like all of that competition amongst yourselves just kind of fades away.
No, it's been great in that respect. Just like you said, a lot of us maybe didn't get along the best or whatever throughout the years. But now it's brought the big track stuff easier because we're hanging out with the families on Sundays. So yeah, it's been good, that regard. And you get to know everybody too a little bit better. When you race against them, you might not really know them that well besides what they do in the car or whatever. And, but when you see them outside and the family aspect of things, it's fun. And yeah, we hang out, we drink beer together after the races are over. You know, we go out to dinner, and really fun time.
And that has really grown. I probably went 6, 8 years ago, and there might have been 10 quarter midgets, and now I think you guys are up around the 40 mark this year. So it's really grown the last several years, which is really good to see.
Yeah, and I believe we got 17 more rookies signed up for this coming season.
Wow.
Already. So just huge how much it's growing. Like we got to figure out how we're going to park everybody this year. So no, it's really great to see. Makes Sundays fun.
That really bodes well, even just for Elko Speedway. I mean, it's kind of the feeder program, for folks to start moving into the big leagues, if you will, there at Elko Speedway. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, really good. Like I said, I mean, it should be the feeder program, and it is, with quarter midgets to bandoleros, legends, or whatever. I mean, so yeah, you'd think it'd be great for the big track that they would help promote us a little bit, and and make things easier on us. So it's not always the case, but anyway.
You're a quarter midget graduate yourself, right?
Yeah, I raced till I was 15, and then we went straight to the late model. Back then, I had the luxury of, we practiced a full summer before actually turning race laps. We went down there every Thursday, and I just drove around by myself trying to figure it out, and then raced a couple times at the end of the year in 2001. But yeah, I thought it was a great learning platform. You learn to be quick and looking ahead, and it's amazing now when you see there's a dad's race or mom and dad's race at the end of the year, and you see some of these handlers try and get in these cars, and how much respect they gain for their kids after they hop in these things, because they're, it's a small track and they're only going 35, 40 miles an hour, which, when you tell people, it's like, well, that's not that fast or whatever. But when you're doing it an inch off the ground or a half inch off the ground and on a 1/20th of a mile track, like it's way faster than what you might think when you're out there. So yeah, great learning platform.
So the parents all raced, you said.
Yeah.
Who won that one?
We have a fun day. Well, my wife won the mom's race 2 years in a row now, but I can't seem to win the dad's race. So, but it was an unfair advantage. So Nick Barstead drives or whatever, helps Fredrickson's, Ty's and Harper's cars, and I think he's lighter than Ty. So anyway, he got and I mean, he just hauled the mail, and no one could keep up to him. But I finished second this year to him. But
wearing an Elvis costume as well, I believe.
Yeah, wearing the Elvis costume. Yeah.
Wow.
All kinds of fun.
And I think you and your two brothers all race quarter midgets at the same time. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
So you probably can lean on your dad for some experience of having 3 kids to maintain quarter midgets for.
Yeah, probably. Except he was smart. He lived with us one class per kid. And Alex was quite a bit younger than I was. So by the time he was getting going, like I was almost on the way out. And so like me and Matt were doing a lot of the changing oil and mounting tires and stuff like that. So I need to get my kids trained to help out with some of that stuff.
Are the girls pretty analytical when you're giving them some insights or when they're picking things up on their own?
Both. I mean, they're picking it up on their own, but they pay attention well. And you can really tell with Reese, the oldest one. I mean, probably just because of the age, but she really absorbs it. And tries to apply it, and some of it right now is just she's not quite confident enough. She knows what to do, and you can see it when she does it, but she's not quite confident enough to just do it all the time and do it without thinking about it. Like that's most of it. You just got to do it. You just got to go, and you can't hesitate. You can't lift in these things. You just got to go. And anyway, so I think hopefully it comes, we'll see. But it doesn't either,
Right. Are you getting as much joy out of working with your daughters as you are when you're racing? Or is it more, less?
It's, I think if they started winning all the time, I could quit. Just about. Honestly, I have a lot of fun with it. And yeah, I'm almost more excited for their racing to start up than my own stuff. I'm more motivated to work on quarter midgets than I'm my own cars. So that's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of weird to think about. Because I still think I'm kind of in my prime yet, to where I can still drive a race car pretty well. And anyway, it's kind of weird to think like that, to have other priorities. And
I think it says a lot about you as a dad, really.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's just, it's different seeing them do it. Like I said, if maybe I'm being a little harsh, but like I said, if they could start winning, like I could just about quit.
I love that. I love that.
Well, getting back to Jacob's racing, and even farther back, I guess it was several years ago. I don't get out to Arlington very often, but I got a program and I saw your dad was one of the big wheelers at Arlington back in the day. So, did you have any desire to race dirt or run out at Arlington when you first started?
No, I don't think so. No desire. I mean, but that's what I grew up watching, was my dad out there. 1990 was his last year. He won the championship and they were making some rule changes, and he said, screw it, and quit, sold his car, and kind of drove for another guy for a year, and then got us into quarter midgets on asphalt. And we kind of never went back for the longest time. And so now when I do go watch, I'm like, I don't want to deal with this dirty mess. I'm a tar baby, but no, no desire to do the dirt stuff. I mean, my buddies have, Dean Cornelius and stuff. They completely jumped ship for a few years, and I'm like, man, I'm too proud, or I don't want to start over and be a back marker, or whatever. Like, I don't want to learn all that stuff new, and I'm comfortable where I am, and I just soon like to stay that way.
Yeah. When you go to a track like a La Crosse or Elko, wherever, Madison, how do you know during like the first couple hours of practice that you guys get, how do you know when you've got that love and feeling and it's going to be a good night?
With my orange car, I don't know. It's just a feel that I get, or that I have, or whatever. And I know the feel that I'm looking for. And that's the most frustrating part to me about my super late program is I think I should be able to drive one yet. But I can't. I'm struggling. I haven't run well at all in my super late the last 3-4 years. And it's so frustrating because I work hard on it, and I just I can't get that feel. I don't know the feel that I need anymore because I don't think I'm in the car enough. And so, when you talk about practice, it's like when I'm in the super late, it's like, I don't know, what kind of times are we running, until I could run good and run a whole race and get that feel back, because everything's just different. My brake pedal is way different in the limited late versus super late. And, the 10-inch tires versus the 8-inch tires, and the setup stuff you do for the equal compound tires all the way around, and the limited late stuff versus your soft left sides and the supers. Like, there's just a lot of different stuff and different feel. And I got the feel I'm looking for in my limited late, but I haven't figured out in the super, and it frustrates me beyond anything that I can't run good in that. So Anyway,
Well, what are the odds of maybe renting a track someday and just putting on some old tires just to run laps and figure it out?
yeah, it's hard. I'm a terrible tester. Like I need to I learn in the race more than anything. Like, you can think you got a decent car when you're by yourself and do, a 10 lap run or whatever, but until you get to lap 25 and actually see really where you're at and see really where you're getting beat, is it on entry or through the center, or are they killing you off or whatever? Or are you down in power and you didn't even know because you don't run all the time or what? So I'm just I've rented lacrosse. I've went down there and tested and think we're okay. Like this past year before, or this past fall before Oktoberfest, we went down there on the test day and I thought I was decent with the super late and we qualified okay. And I guess, we didn't run good in the nights race, but we also had a engine issue. And anyway, that knocked us out for the weekend. So it's like, that's the other thing is I don't get to build off anything because I worked really hard and thought we were onto something and then didn't get to finish it or whatever. So, or didn't get to tune from our base. And so, yeah, I don't know. It just, I struggle with testing. I'm a better racer than tester. And
that makes
I
some
don't know.
sense. That makes sense. So are you acting as your own crew chief then when you go to these races, or are your brothers there helping you?
I wish my brothers were there all the time. They're there when they can be. But yeah, for the most part, I'm acting as the crew chief, which makes it really hard. Obviously, like it's one thing to tune on the car during practice when you have some time to think about it, but that's kind of our downfall when you get into these bigger super late races is, I need to be focused on what I'm doing behind the wheel and someone else needs to be figuring out what we're doing for strategy and stuff. And Matt's pretty good at that. And when we do the bigger races, my brother Matt is there and Alex is always thinking about that stuff too. So they're there, but it's still my call at the end of the day. No one's stepping up and saying this is what we should do. But yeah, anyway, that's hard. I don't have a big team or whatever. It's a small operation really, and that's some of the downfall probably with the super late stuff. You just need more people, and yeah, and I don't have the whatever. I haven't bought into anybody's program, like that's the other thing. I don't have a Toby car, I don't have a Fury, I don't have a Hamke. So I don't have that notebook or starting point. I'm doing what I think, or going off what I think other people are doing and trying to build off it or whatever. And I just haven't quite got it all figured out yet.
Maybe you need to do the Danny Fredrickson thing where you just call people up. Hey, buddy.
Right. He's a professional at that, isn't he?
Did you feel, well, when you ran Speed Weeks a couple years ago and you got to run a whole week with the super, did you feel that helped you out? And did you, I don't think you were that far off the whole time you were there. Did you feel like you got better towards the end of the week?
No, well, I think we started better than we ended down there, but no, like that's a good example though of, like I worked from November till we left essentially on my super late program to go down there. And we actually ran, I thought, pretty decent. I honestly wasn't expecting to run as good as we did. I was hoping we would, but realistically, I wasn't expecting it. But I think that proved to me that if I do put in the time and I am behind the wheel enough that I can figure it out or get there. Plus, looking back or whatever, just the more I think about things, like they're on equal compound tire F45 all the way around. And that's more similar to what we do up here with the limited late. So I think, I almost got a little lucky that what I'm doing or whatever is better suited for that style program. So anyway, I was pleasantly surprised, but I do think that's a huge benefit of me being in the car all the time. and that's my downfall right now. I
I
feel.
think you would have ended up better in the points if you wouldn't have backed into that one guy on the straightaway that one night.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I know. That was a killer. Threw in reverse coming out of 4 and yeah.
Oh Lord. You mentioned Matt, your brother, and he is notorious with the snowmobiles. He just picked up another big win.
Yeah, huge win. Yeah, the world championship, 60th
Yeah.
annual, whatever, 60th running of the world championship race, and yeah, he won it. So that's pretty much the biggest thing you can win in ice oval racing, or sprint ice oval racing, I should say. And yeah, so that was a pretty cool deal. It's not that we weren't expecting it, but it was a new sled for this year, and we weren't feeling too confident going into the weekend. We were kind of struggled with it in testing, and but we are hopeful. We actually stopped and tested on the way to Eagle River in a snowstorm. We stopped at a friend of ours' lake, and he had a track plowed, and we're like, well, it actually was decent this time. And anyway, it showed up, and he set fast time in qualifying and won Friday Night Thunder, and got the pole for Sunday, and led a lot of it. And anyway, ended up taking home the win. So
that was cool. Do you kind of act as crew chief for him then when you're there, or you just, what do you do when you're at the snowmobile races with him?
I try to help as much as I can. I don't know if I'd call myself a crew chief, but that one I did do a lot of the suspension work on. That was more of a stock-based sled. So I kind of did we changed some of the suspension stuff on it and whatever. I did the springs and shock package. And so, yeah, but anyway, I try and help as much as I can. And that was pretty cool because we were the only Skidoo that ran where the crap. Everyone thought the Skidoo couldn't work, and well, we kind of proved that we made it fast. So I think
was cool.
Right. Yeah,
that was cool. Have you ever done snowmobile racing much yourself?
Oh yeah.
Are you done with the vintage stuff?
I'm done. Yeah, I retired. I think it was 2019 or after 2019.
You won at Eagle River in the vintage class too, right?
Yeah, I run the vintage world championship twice in my younger years. But no, like, Matt got hurt really bad. He got hurt, what was it, 16 or 17? He really got messed up, up in Ironwood, Michigan, spent a month in the hospital in Wausau. And like, I sold my sled after that, my own personal sled. And I thought I was done. And then a friend from Michigan wanted me to ride for him a couple years later or whatever. And I raced it, and Matt got hurt. Matt got hurt that weekend again when I was riding this other guy's sled, and spent another, I think it was 3 or 4 days or a week in the hospital. And after that, it's like, no, I don't need that much, And Erica was pushing on me too, like, you got other things to worry about besides, racing the snowmobile. There just isn't the protection there like you have in a car. So
right.
Anyway, and I was fine with it. Like, my biggest downfall is I feel I was as fast as anybody for 2 or 3 or 4 laps, but I just never spent enough time or wasn't dedicated enough, however you want to say it, to get myself in good enough shape to race the longer races. So anyway, I was fine quitting. And I still enjoy it. I miss it when I'm there, but I don't miss the work and whatever that Matt has to put into it. So yeah, I don't know. I miss it, but I'm fine just helping and being a crew guy. So
yeah, snowmobiling is a workout. I get a chuckle at, my husband goes to the doctor and he asks him, have you done any exercising? And Toby always says, well, yeah, I went snowmobiling 250 miles this last weekend. And the doctor always looks at him like, okay, like exercising though. But that is, I mean, if you're riding hard, that can be a bit of a cardio workout.
Yeah, it's what's funny. Me and some Dean Cornelius and a few other buddies went riding here back and before Christmas, And I got an older sled because we never get snow. And this year we actually got snow. So we went out, and I swear I couldn't walk for 3 days after that. My quads were so sore. I'm like, wow, I must be really out of shape, or we rode way harder than I thought. And my sled was older than I thought, or whatever. Doesn't work as good as the new ones. But
What would you say, Jacob, is kind of your superpower when it comes to any kind of racing? Is it, doing the shock setups, suspension type stuff? What is your superpower?
I think I'm pretty good at figuring out a racetrack behind the wheel for really pretty quickly. I feel like I can pick up on that, and I maybe, I don't know if I'm different than everybody else, but a lot of other drivers will ask me like, oh, where are you lifting, or where do you turn into the corner? And I'm like, I can't tell anybody anything. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't have marks. I don't have any of that stuff. Like, I drive off my butt apparently. And that's what's so different to me about, all the younger generation that grew up racing, iRacing, for example. Like, everything's hand-eye, that's all they do. They don't use their butt or whatever other feeling that I'm getting. And that's what's so different to me. Like, I'm not good at doing the simulation stuff. Like, I can't really do it. I need to feel it everywhere. I can't just do it by hand and eyes. And so anyway, I think that's one thing I'm good at, is picking up a racetrack just by feel or whatever. I just go off feel and I can figure it out. But as far as car setup, I have no idea. Like, my stuff works okay, but I don't know if anyone else could drive it, or maybe my car's really good and I'm not that good. I don't know, but
I don't think that's the case at all. Is there any track that you have not yet run that you'd really like to?
I would really like to run Pensacola. I would really like to do the snowball derby before I quit this stuff. So that's a definite one. Other than that, that's the biggest one I can think of, I guess, that I would really like to do.
And what would it take for you to be able to do the snowball derby?
To run decent up home first. If I could, like I always say, if I could have a decent, like if I could finish in the top 5 in the 200 at Oktoberfest and have a decent feeling of my program, I'd be willing to try and put something together to go to the snowball derby. But if I'm not running good, I'm not wasting the time and everybody else's time to go down there. So New Smyrna was kind of a bucket list thing that we did. Every year when that comes around, I wish I was there and doing it again. But I don't know. Once is maybe enough. I mean, it costs so much money to do those things.
But not everybody gets to be the photo display at Jim Jones's trailer.
Yeah, that's nice. The car even looked good in that picture.
Well, and you did get to run some pretty cool tracks when you did the old ASA crate tour, and you won at Bristol.
Yeah.
What were some of the other tracks out of state that you got to go to with that old tour?
Newton, Iowa. Yeah, Bristol. I won at why can't I think of it? Well, we did I-70. That's a high speed place. Went down to Tri-County Motor Speedway in North Carolina and got rained out. We did Gateway. Man, why can't I think of the other racetrack I won at? That's pretty embarrassing. But we did Berlin. So we did, a lot of your higher profile racetracks, but Bristol was pretty sweet. When we went there, like, I was just joking, like I had no idea what to expect, but I figured, well, it's a half mile with high banking and we're racing 400 horsepower crate motors. Like, so I joked with everybody. I'm like, I'm going to be able to go wide open around that place. And, like, we were having tire problems, but we were super fast. And then practice, like, all of a sudden I come on the radio. I'm like, that was 4 laps in a row wide open. And then it bounced off the fence the next lap. And we had to do some repair work. But anyway, I set the track record and set fast time and set a track record that first year, and then won the race. so yeah, that was pretty cool. Newton, Iowa was super cool at first. But yeah, been around.
I was trying to Google it up real quick to see what that other track was for you.
Mansfield, Ohio. There we go.
Oh,
There it
yeah.
is.
The one they just tore down. They made
Yeah.
it dirt and now they tore it down. Yeah.
Yep.
Dang. Well, I'm excited to see the progression. I'm hopeful for a top 5 finish for you because I think that would be pretty awesome to see you go down to the snowball.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that your daughters have a lot of success this season too. That's exciting stuff. You know, you actually lit up pretty brightly just talking about your daughters racing. I just think that's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm excited for that, but it's going to be busy. Like I got the oldest and youngest are both playing traveling softball, and then we're trying to do the racing stuff and my racing and whatever else. So we don't get to do a lot of other activities during the summer with all that going on. We bought a pontoon during COVID, and after COVID was over, we haven't used it since hardly. So anyway, but yeah.
I'm not sure if Jacqueline remembers your wife was quite the racer too. Does she have any desire to get back behind the wheel?
Yeah, she won a championship before I did, and she reminds me of that occasionally.
Oh, I love her already.
I don't know. She hasn't. It's came up a time or two, but nothing's ever came to fruition about it. I think
you got 2 big 8 cars. You should probably just have her start showing up Saturday nights too.
Yeah, probably. I might need a new teammate this year.
Here's Dan stirring the pot. Stirring the pot. Nicely done.
Yeah.
Well, I do see your father-in-law has been helping out or hanging out in the pits quite a bit the last few years. So that's pretty cool to have, 2 racing families working together like that too.
Yeah, no, I'm lucky that she came from a racing family. So she kind of understands the commitment it takes and whatever. So yeah, she definitely keeps everything together, and I couldn't do it without her support. That's for sure. With everything, because I don't get anything done in summer besides race car stuff. So anyway, she keeps everything going.
Did you guys meet at the racetrack then?
Sort of through the racetrack. Yeah. Not really directly at the track, but anyway, like I knew her from the track and whatever, but yeah, so I guess you could say we met through the track.
Well,
Nice.
The story I heard was your dad bought the first car from Randy, Erica's dad, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's not really how it started, but yeah, that's how the first time we knew of Wabels or whatever. That's where my first late model came from. But yeah, anyway,
and then
my
kid was a little bummed for a while because Erica was one of his favorite drivers, and then all of a sudden she wasn't racing anymore because she got married, and then they decided to start having babies, so she wasn't racing anymore. And I showed my kid the one night, well, this is why she can't race anymore.
Doesn't fit behind the wheel.
No.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. I said this to Casey Johnson as well when we talked to him, that I don't know if you heard that part, but I read that men who are subjected to G-forces tend to produce female babies, and it seems to be the fit here for you as well. 3 girls for you.
Yeah, when me and my wife heard that, we just like chuckled too. It's like, are you kidding me? Where does a stat like that come from? But
have to bring that one up to Randy. Have to bring that up to Randy too.
Well, yeah, 4 daughters there, and my brother had their first child, well, a little over 2 years ago now, and she's a girl too. So it's like, what in the world,
Yeah, I had a friend when I actually read that when I was in radio years ago, and I just thought that was such an interesting stat, and I shared it. And I have a friend who had like 2 or 3 boys, and he called up and he said, well, how do you explain me having boys? I'm like, well, you're probably not going fast enough.
Right.
Yeah, that was kind of naughty, but yeah, that is a legit stat though. I mean, there are like Thunderbird pilots, Blue Angel pilots, that they tend to produce female babies after having all those tremendous G forces. So I don't know.
Unreal.
Trust the science.
Yeah.
Right? Oh man. And you are both in Minnesota where that is not normal to happen. Did I just say that out loud? I said that out
I
loud.
heard it. I heard
Oh
it.
well. Anyway, well, Jacob, we appreciate you taking time to join us on the Racing Nuggets podcast. Good luck to you in 2023, both for you and all three of your kids.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate you having me on. It's fun.